this
I'm
time.
hoping that people are.
Good morning, and welcome everyone to the Women's Coffee Club. We created this club to provide a safe space for women to share and inspire each other, learning from a different presenter each week. And we're so fortunate to have Suzanne Plumley this morning to be our guest presenter, and she will be discussing about the this idea of how to become a bridge builder. It's a volunteer program to help the autistic women in different capacities, to help them and making a difference, really. So this is such a wonderful program. So happy to have all of you here. Thank you for coming. And Suzanne, tell us a little bit about your background and why you decided to choose this topic.
This topic is near and dear to my heart. I am Suzanne. I'm down in Texas right now. Flexible, but down in Texas at the moment. And I learned at the age of 51 that I was autistic. And there are 3 levels of autism for anyone who tends to group them all together. The lowest level is usually non-communicative, and they do require home care and a lot of supervision. Then there's non-speaking, but they're a little bit more independent. I'm at the first level, which is because they've now taken out the term Asperger syndrome, is now autism level 1. And those are the people who are still affected by audio and sensory processing challenges, but we are able to communicate. We are have our intellect. Many of us have graduated from high school, from college, and never received any resources because we flew under the radar of needing extra help. When I went to school back in the 70s and 80s, autism wasn't even a word, or wasn't a known entity within the education process, nor in the medical process. And when it finally came to be in about the year 98, 99, it was only seen in little boys. And the belief then was that some kind of immunization turned their brain, which we now know is completely a myth, completely false. It has nothing to do with the immunizations that they believed back in 1998 that all of a sudden caused this problem in boys. It's been there all along. It's just that the term has now gotten educated. People now know more about it. You probably even know someone who might be undiagnosed who doesn't even know they're on the spectrum, because a lot of people look at me and say, I would have never known. You come to work, you're hardworking, you show up on time, you're well dressed. I don't understand, how are you autistic? That's the struggle of autism, is people look at me and say, is autism really a thing? You don't look autistic. What they don't know is that there's an inner struggle that people don't see. And there's a term called masking, which is we put on a strong positive persona to hide the war that's within our hearts and our minds. And what happens a lot is that our heart yearns to be like everybody else within a group of friends, being social, being able to go anywhere we want and do whatever we want. And people are like, well, why can't you go to a bar at night? Do you want the short story or the long story? Or why can't you? Or why can't you? And what they don't realize is that we know within ourselves where our strengths and our limits are. And not every autistic person is the same. I mean, I can tell people I work at Starbucks and they're like, that's so loud and noisy. How can you do that? Well, that kind of trigger doesn't affect me, providing I'm in the window. So what we need to do is we need to understand that each autistic woman has a different set of needs. But because we went through school and we did not receive any of those needs, I'm now creating an organization that will allow women to call up to someone within their state and say, I'm really struggling with this. Can you help me? And that's where the volunteers come in. Is when a woman goes to a therapist and says, I am autistic. First of all, the therapist says, but you're talking to me and you're having eye contact with me. How can you be autistic? I had this happen just in December. She's like, you're having a conversation with me. How are you autistic? I said, it's quiet, it's calm, there are no strobe lights, there's no loud music. I'm able to be perfectly me and comfortable in this environment. But put me in the middle of a large stadium with a large rock band, and I'm a completely different person. And that's what a lot of people don't realize, is that when we know where our special parts are, places are, we can fit in quite well. And we can, even unmasked, feel comfortable expressing our needs. But put us in a situation where we're uncomfortable, that's where volunteers are needed. And I've come up with 9 different categories of people. Actually, I've now created 12 categories of where people can become part of my organization and go from there. Let me share, if I can share my PowerPoint, Rennie. You are on mute for the moment. I'm hoping that people don't feel like I was going to rope them in and therefore they didn't show up today. You see, I'm going to have a strong base, but my inner side says, maybe people don't want to get involved. Maybe people don't want to be roped in. So even though I have a strong base, it still hurts internally that people don't want to feel cornered. And this is a big part of many autistic individuals, is that fear of rejection or not wanting to get involved. Now I can smile and I can feel very comfortable, but yeah, inside my heart, it hurts that more people have chosen this week not to be here. But hopefully they'll watch the recording.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I just put
Okay, great. Thank
the
you.
setting for so you can share.
Wonderful. All right, let me find it now. Hang in there for one moment, please. I have to be able to find it on my screen and open it up.
Because at some point I was going to ask, I think it's good that you're doing this presentation, because for people who are not autistic, they also have questions about how could I be qualified to be, things like that. You don't have to answer it now because I'm sure you will. I'm just saying these are some of the questions, like how could I be qualified? Do I have to be local? What are my responsibilities? How many hours? I'm already busy. Those are the questions that people may have, and I'm sure you will be answering it as you go through your slides. So you could keep that to the end, but I just want to tell you that I'm sure many of us have those kinds of questions.
Absolutely. Can you see my screen right now? That's Bridge Builder 2 becoming a volunteer?
No.
No, okay. Let me get back.
Do I have to share screen, right?
Nope, I just had to, no, you were actually good. I just had to see what was seen. Now you should be able to see it.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, for those of you who have been here and been at all 3 of my previous showings of what bridge builders are, I'm going to do a little reintroduction for those who have not been here before. So welcome to my bridge builder program. All right, let me see if I can get rid of that right there. Okay. I'm going to get back to that screen. There we go. Okay. Late diagnosed autism in women. Is it possible? And this is where I talk about, why do people all of a sudden see me as autistic? Well, I didn't even know myself until I got to understand the traits that were within me that are coming out, that are on the spectrum. For some adults that are diagnosed later in life, we found ways to cope. We found ways to really make ourselves comfortable. And while we may not communicate it to you, like for one instance is, I don't like to sit in the middle of a crowd. I like to sit on an end. That's just something that I have learned how to cope with I don't have to explain it to you. I just find the end seat in a conference, and that's where I sit. So a lot of times the women who are on the spectrum, late diagnosed, realize later on that the traits that they've been dealing with will put them on the spectrum, even though originally they were didn't even know it existed. So for some adults diagnosed later, we found the ways to cope, but even though we found ways to cope, there are still different issues that we struggle with. Like for me, decision making and knowing which way to go, what priority, where to spend my money and where not to. Decision making is very challenging for me. And that would fall under the financial as well as the intuition side. Now, I don't voice that, but that doesn't mean it doesn't affect me. So face-to-face long-term battles, coping with day-to-day lives is a big part of a battle that we have that we don't always communicate. But now I want women to know that they have a place to turn. They don't have to go to a therapist that will question whether or not they're autistic or not. By creating this group of volunteers, they'll now understand that, oh, there's someone in my state I can call to get some help. And they don't have to explain their story over again. Okay, so autism as an adult, you would think that these coping skills are, being an adult, we could find the resources. Well, they don't want to offer the resources to adults because there's so many more children that need to be diagnosed now that we're the last ones on the totem pole, as they would say. We're the last ones to get offered help because they have so much, they're so inundated with all the children that are coming up as autistic. There's not enough resources to go around. That's where you come in. Why did it take so long to diagnose women as autistic? Because there are comorbid diagnoses, which means that there's a presence of one or more disorders or challenges is the better word. I'm just using the definition right now. There's more than one issue or challenge that she's battling. So those issues mask over autism. They hid it. For me, I was hypothyroid. Everything that I was challenged with, my family said, oh, that's just your thyroid. That's just your thyroid. Well, I have put in here that there's an actual one-on-one correlation between autism and thyroid during the in the mother's womb before I was even born. There's a chemical imbalance for a woman who has thyroid issues. So that's why I was found as hypothyroid, because my mom knew she had thyroid issues, but what they didn't find was autism. So this comorbid diagnosis, everything, clinical depression, ADHD, bipolar, everything else was looked at before they even considered women to have autism. And we've been medicated and drugged with all these different things to try and solve the problem that never solved it. So many people had their diagnoses missed. But now that we know more about autism in women, we're now saying, oh, that makes sense. Here's where we start to go into the volunteer. Philanthropy is not only about giving of your money, but giving of your time. Just being available, not having to check into a time clock, check out of a time clock, just being available. And here is why. Philanthropy, as I say, is also an act of service. Awaiting your time to serve. In the US, we have what is called jury duty. And jury duty is knowing that you may be called upon by your government to serve on a jury. And it's not every day. You don't get called 5 times a day to serve on a jury. Your name just may be pulled as they do it to serve on a jury. That's kind of like the way the volunteers will act. You go about your normal life. You go about doing everything in your business and in your personal life, and you might get called to say, Rennie, I have someone in San Diego who is really needing your help. and I know you work in this category. Would you be willing to help her out? So it would not be until I actually have someone not only in your town or in your state, but in your particular zone of expertise. So here is what I wrote right here. Until someone shows up, you're living your own life. And that's why I put it like jury service. We know that we're not going to be called every day for jury duty. Same idea here. You won't be called every day. It might be a woman here, a woman there. The more volunteers we have, the less each person gets taxed. The fewer volunteers we have, the more I call on you. So hopefully you can help me bring more and more volunteers in who will nurture the woman and not make her feel badly for being autistic. That's where the term bridge builders come in. We can I can lead the women to the top of the bridge, but because I'm also autistic, I can't help them on the other side because I don't have all of the tools either. That's where I need to have bridge builders come in and help me help these women. How much time is involved? When an ASPE were to call me and say, I need help with this and I live here, that's when I would reach out to a volunteer and say, I have a woman who is in your area and this is what her need is. I will ask her to be very specific. I won't have her say, I need someone to organize my life. That's not fair to you. That's not being specific to them. So they have a duty as autistic women to narrow it down to what their exact skill is. She can't even say, I need someone to organize my house. That's too much work. But she could say, I need someone to help me create a kitchen plan or organization within my kitchen that will work for me. Now we have a specific problem. And here's how you would work it. 3 segments of time, 30 minutes for you to communicate with her to understand the problem, 60 minutes to come up with a game plan and put it into action, and 30 minutes for you to follow up and make sure the plan is still working. So that's all I ask is 2 hours, as you can see, 30, 60, 30. So it's not a lot of time with any one person. You're not coaching them. You're just giving them a 2-hour block of time, separate into 3 blocks. Do I need to be ASPE? Here's your question, Rennie, that you were asking before for the sake of everyone. No, just like a flight attendant or a tour guide or a train engineer or anyone out in the community that is going to the woman from point A to point B do not need to be certified, neither do you. You're not changing her behavior, you're solving a problem. Now, when it comes back to the idea of the kitchen, you're helping her to place the items in a place that might work. You're not teaching her why to place it there. You're just saying, here's a system that might work for you. That's why the reason for the follow-up is the system working. So you're not changing her behavior. You're creating a system or creating a solution for her. And then you're checking back in to see if the solution works. That's why you have to work for about an hour to no more than 90 minutes. You decide, not me. That's up to your decision, your comfort level. You would decide how long you think she needs for that particular activity to be finished up. That's why I also asked her to be specific. It shouldn't take 3 hours of your time on just creating the plan. By you connecting first with her, you get a better idea of how to solve a problem so that when you go into action, you already have a game plan. So no, you do not need to be ASPE trained. You're not a therapist. You're not a coach to her. You're being a volunteer in this case. What's in it for you? If you have if you have a flyer or something, a website that you can direct her to teach her about other programs in your expertise, and she would love to learn more about it, and she signs up for it, or she tells her family about it, you have new clients. And so you can either have her sign up for a program, or she can tell her family to sign up for a program. All I ask is that you leave the Brave Thinking Dream Builder program to me to walk her through. I'm going to go a little bit faster because I want to get to the meat of this. I just am doing this introduction. How do I sign up? Here is the website that I would have you sign up for. I would have you go into, and I will put that into the chat and onto the Women's Coffee Hour Messenger so that you know exactly how to get there. And we'll do that in one moment together. On this, you will even come up with you will choose a category that you want to be a part of. And then you will decide exactly what you're willing to do. If you're a hearth and home volunteer, you might want to help her create family schedules. You might want to declutter the house, her closet. You might want to help her with a morning routine. Do you need to do all three? That is up to you. What are you willing to help her with? Not what, these are just examples. And if you become a volunteer, which I hope you will, I have what is called a Zellos, a volunteer platform. And this is where I will communicate to you one-on-one or within your group of the 12 different categories. And I will let you know if there's an article I need you to read that will be helpful, or if there's a quick video that I might need you to read. You would need to sign up for that so that you receive the emails from me. So you might want to take it out of put it into your contacts so that it doesn't go into your spam. And don't worry, I can't stand having emails that are not related to me. So by signing up for the Zellos volunteer platform, you will be getting only what is pertinent to you. Only what you need to do. Not what everyone else is doing. I don't want to send you any unnecessary emails. Here is what the site looks like. The value of bridge builders. And I'm going to just move this over to the side. This is a two-way website. On one side, on this side right here, is where the Ask Me Woman will get we'll use the pages. So it says home and introduction. These two pages are for her. While you're welcome to read them, it won't be as informative to you as it will be to her. Services is for everybody. This is where you would choose the category that you want to be affiliated with, and we'll go over that in a moment. The list of services you want to be affiliated with, I have 12 different services. The BB information is your page. That's the page where you'll sign up. And the gallery is for all of my volunteers that will not be that will not be team leaders. So I have two tiers. I have a team leader page, which I'll explain in a moment. And I have general volunteers. My team leaders will be the ones that will help me gather everybody for a group meeting. The individual volunteers will be just someone who will wait in the wings so that when I call you to say I have a question that needs to be answered by you in your area. So let's go on. I'll just go through quickly. This is the mission statement. This is the bridge builders. These are my team leaders. The nonprofit liaison is actually not a volunteer, but she's a volunteer to me. Helps me understand what being in a nonprofit organization is all about. And I definitely want to find someone like that, but she would not be quite the same volunteer as the rest of them. She is someone who understands nonprofit organizations inside and out. We have the head of Hearth and Home team, the head of careers. The careers helps women get involved in her job. Head of financial. Most of these are self-explanatory. Home and car maintenance. Like right now, I have my car still waiting at a body shop trying to figure out if I'm being taken advantage of or not by my car not being back in order. And I'm trying to do that alone. Imagine what a volunteer who could help me see what is acceptable and what's not acceptable for car maintenance and help me get the necessary words to speak up to them and say, okay, this is not working. So my head of home and car maintenance would let individuals know when a service person is not living up to their word. Head of home and head of family matters is the Aspie mom who's trying to work with the classroom teacher for her children. So it's the home to school connection. I bet you know who that is. Sandra, thank you, Sandra, has signed up to be my very first team leader. Head of tactful communication, Coach Sandra, compassionate queen of straight talk. Head of technology, this is the individual who will help with all things website. Well, not so much website. I'll get to that in a minute, but excessive emails, knowing security programs are, knowing all different things about technology that may be completely foreign to us. Head of fitness companion. This is the person who would help the individual find a hiking companion in the Northwest or in Florida or wherever. He's well, he or she, these are not gender specific. I just try to go back and forth. They're the ones who will help the team find the appropriate person to help someone who wants to stay active, but will stay in her house because she is afraid to go out and do it alone. Lasting relationships, that could be male or female relationships. We've seen an awful lot of girlfriends who have exited our lives because they don't understand us. So we need someone who will help us create a lasting relationship with a girlfriend or a boyfriend who might not understand what our quirks are. I use this picture again. Head of personal support community, and that's where Loveline may come in, right there. She can help us build a community of our own friendships. We can't just have these Aspie women call us up and say, I have a problem, I have a problem. She also needs to get stronger to say, here's my group of people I feel comfortable going out to dinner with, calling on the phone and celebrating a win, or calling on the phone. I see a lot of women who are on the Facebook pages that use Facebook as their way of sharing all their bad news. What if she could create her voice to create her own little group of friends, female and male, to feel comfortable doing things with, venting with, celebrating with? So this is Loveline and Sandra and I were talking the other day, and I created this little spot for Loveline to jump into right here. Head of male Aspies. I'm not advertising to the men directly, but if Sally is a client of ours, per se, and Sally found out that her cousin Sam just got diagnosed too, Sally can refer Sam to our services. And Mark Maynard is going to take up this role. He's going to be here in this head of Aspie issues. He's going to help them find out which men can help the guy. This is for dating. This is for grooming, male grooming. This is for finding the right outfit to go to an interview that won't conflict. He's going to help to find the right people that will help the man who is late diagnosed. Head of legal matters. This one came up after the last time we were together. Reading a contract. Oh my gosh. To an Aspie woman, this might as well be written in Japanese to us. But if you're great at that deciphering contracts, you're going to be ultra needed, super needed, because we cannot understand a contract, and we might get out of something that will cost us money if we get out of it. So this is someone who can read a contract and tell us how to proceed based on what our needs are. And then the rest of these are to be added in. I just couldn't get rid of them. I had to find out. So that's all the service. That's all of the team leads. The services, quickly, we'll go through because I don't want to take too much time. Hearth home, career satisfaction, life on the internet. And when you are able to open this up, you'll be able to go through it more. Financial gains, knowing how to manage our money, the family matters, the tactful communication, which Sandra will lead her team, the fitness companions, lifelong relationships, men talk, keeping holidays joyful. Maybe you might want to be a volunteer during the holidays when it can get stressful. That's fine too. How about if you're a grief counselor who can help her get to work through some of the most difficult losses in her life? Or how about someone who will help her understand the ins and outs of when to get into a mortgage, when to get into a rental, and all of those different things, when to lease a vehicle versus when to buy a vehicle. That is another service. And then I didn't add in the legal one here, but we'll figure that out after. That's a specific category. How do you sign up? The BB information page. Creating a strong team. I explain why a team is needed. I tell you about some of the strengths and weaknesses. I was being coached the other day and someone said, would you be willing to pick up the phone and call a woman and ask her to become a client? And I'm like, but if he had known that my challenges in picking up a phone and cold calling, he would not have asked that of me. So by understanding these strengths and weaknesses we have, it helps you to navigate what she's able to do and what she might not be able to do. But you still have to communicate and ask her, is this a problem for you, instead of pushing her into something that may not be. You can read her signs, even better than she can read her own signs. Look at her face. Her face will tell you a lot. So this is the page where you would sign up to be a bridge builder. Your first name, last name, obviously, email where you want to be contacted by the volunteer organization that I've set up, the volunteer management. Your closest major city to home. In other words, I don't expect you to drive to her. I don't expect her to drive to your town, but where can you meet? Where is the closest town, major city that you can meet in if you decide to do it face to face? So if I ask you to give as much information as possible. The service category, you'd go back up to that services page and decide which one best correlates to where you're willing to serve the Aspie woman. And I allow you to choose. When I go to Zellos, I'll have you put your name, that same category, into Zellos. So you're not only getting the emails for that category, you're not getting it for all the categories. This is where I ask you to list specific things that you're comfortable offering. I will do this for her. I will, like Sandra said, I will help her present a case for not losing her children in a divorce. That would be a typical question that she would take care of. I will help her create a presentation so that she's strong to keep her children in the court, because otherwise in court, an Aspie woman could get railroaded and lose custody of her children just by the very words that she uses. And it's sad, it's scary. Once you have decided what you want to do and you hit submit, or I'm not a robot, your information will actually go away. That's not to say it didn't present itself. It will send me an email directly that Loveline signed up, that Jane signed up, that Rennie signed up. So don't worry if it goes away. You don't have to keep refilling it. Sandra and I already had a trial run to see what happens. And she said, it's gone. I said, but I have received it. So we've already tested it to make sure it's seen. I'm going to stop the share and then I'll ask questions. I want to make sure we have time for questions and then I can go back into whatever page I have. Let me stop share for a moment. I'm going to open
Suzanne, is it question time now?
I just want to show you one other thing.
Okay.
This is my Zellos, and this is where I see when you sign up to be part. There will be a member profile that will show me that you signed up. There will be some tasks that I'll ask you to do. Now, those of you in the Women's Center do not need to do one task that I say, tell me why you're a good fit. I already know you're a good fit. That is not a task I would ask you to do. But there may be short trainings on the Ask Me Woman or short articles that I would like you to please do. And I will invite you as you sign up. And thank you. That is my presentation. I will.
Thank you, Suzanne. I think this is wonderful. I mean, I commend you for doing this. I mean, wow, the amount of work you put in and your intention, I think it's very clear. I think this is great that you're providing such a service that's probably needed and nobody has done it before. But I was just it's a logistical question. When you do the category, is it possible for you to do a drop down instead of us going back to the category?
Oh, I could do that. Yeah, I could if I couldn't put it in a drop down file so you don't have to go back in. Because yes, you know where in your heart which one makes sense. But if you don't have to go back and forth in the website, yes, I can do that for you. Thank you. That's great feedback.
And then another thing is that I don't know, phone number, like I respond to texting, at least just for the initial conversation, texting for texting purposes, phone number. I know some other people may be thinking they want to be private, but to me, texting capability would be helpful also, other than email, both. You need email for a description, but for something reminder kind of thing.
Oh, definitely. That's a good point. And I should get your telephone number so I can reach out to you that way too. Excellent point. Thank you. I wanted to try and keep it as well. Let me just say this. I did not want the Ask Me woman to contact you directly. You have enough going on. I don't want her to have direct access to you. I want you to offer access to her. So I guess that's why I didn't ask for a telephone number at first, is I did not want you to think, or anyone else who signs up to be a dreamer, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get 1,000 telephone calls now. But yes, I will contact you by telephone. You can decide how you want to connect with her. And yes, I have a page on the side where she can, she is going to actually send me a text. It's called Ask Me Help, and it goes right to my business telephone number. And she lays out what her telephone number is and what her specific problem is, because I don't want her going into the site and saying, Rennie does this. I'm going to connect her and I'm going to leave Suzanne out of it. I don't want that to happen. I don't want you to get inundated for this volunteer to work and you not to hate me for people sending tons and tons of texts and driving you crazy. I want to be the person that channels. That way I know that your time and your life is preserved.
Yeah, I want to give other people a chance to ask the question. This is only 13 minutes left, but yes. I really appreciate what you're doing. I think it's a wonderful service. Sign me up. I'll sign up for this, definitely.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, Val, go ahead. Oh, Jane.
Oh, Val, go ahead. Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah, I'll be signing up. I'll look for that link, and I can think of many areas I can help, but certainly the 20 plus years I was a mortgage advisor, I can certainly help a woman, whether or not she's eligible to get a mortgage, how to get one, and what it might encompass, and so on. So, and I do know legal contracts when it comes to buying a house. What a legal contract. I'm in New York. So yeah, that's wonderful. I'm sorry, I have to run, but I'll be looking for it. Thank you for doing this. I think this is marvelous.
You're
Yes,
welcome. Now,
thank you,
one quick
Jane.
question
Talk to you.
before you go, Jane. You each get to decide whether or not you want to serve as a team leader or a general volunteer. You don't have to sign up to be a team leader. Yes, I would love it, but I don't want that pressure on you. You can decide if you want to be team leader or general, and that's all. And I might even put that in there. Yes, I want to be a team leader. Yes, I want to be a primary volunteer. So those are the two terms. But thank you, Jane. I so appreciate you.
Yeah. Oh, I look forward to it. Thank you, Suzanne.
And
Bye.
thank you, Jane.
You betcha. Bye, everybody.
Okay, bye-bye. Val, you're next.
Well, I was curious about your presentation, Suzanne, so that's why I attended. I'm definitely not going to commit in being a bridge builder because my agenda is already full and ultimately full. I'm already, late on some things that I should have done already. So my plate is entirely full. But I was really curious about because you've been talking about this project for certain amount of sessions now, and now we can see the fruit coming out on how well organized all the process is. So you definitely have your plan, and it is very encouraging that the structure is very well set up. So people, those little, this volunteer is quite like a helpful resource in the sense where the volunteer is going to specifically help a person. So the specific, like you explained, I'm going to explain to you how to have a better life. Well, no, but definitely organizing a kitchen. If I had the time, I have excellent organizational skills.
Well,
when
you can sign up if your plate opens. Again, I remind you that this is a jury duty. You could sign up now and pass until your plate is open. You could do it that way as well. So jury duty is going to take me at least a year before I even have the nonprofit LLC legalized per se. So jury duty, it may not even happen until even July per se. I have to set it up, but what I need to do is I need to go in and say I've already have X number of women willing to be volunteers. So yes, I can find the volunteers, because if they're going to say to me when they approve me or disapprove me or not allow me to do it, well, where are you going to get the volunteers? I can say, see, here are my list of volunteers. So even if you don't have an open plate now, know that it's not a tomorrow. You won't be called tomorrow. You probably won't even be called until a year from now. Because the more people I can get, I'll know that Val Fagan is not available now. Therefore, I will call someone else that runs in your level. So I guess I would say I encourage you to sign up anyway. And now that you and I have this conversation, you could say, I'm sorry, I'm still not available. But at least your information is in the system.
And then you can
say no. No, thank you.
Thank you so much, both Suzanne and Val for volunteering. I know you have to work You have to leave soon also.
Yep, 8
But
minutes.
thank you so much. Lovelyn, you're next.
Thank you so much, Suzanne. I know we had a conversation on Tuesday about this in great detail. I saw the NHS in one of your things, one of your slides there, and England there. So do you have teams that you've built there already? Do you have volunteers there already?
This is brand
just
new,
asking.
Marlene. You would be the first. I have to say, honestly, you would be the first. I do have a number of friends in England that I have not reached out to yet, that are coaches and professionals. I have 2 that I can think of off the top of my head that are also in England. The nice thing about being signing up now is that I can tell you for a fact, until I get it set up in US and Canada, I may not get England set up until a year from now. So you can put your information in, and then I would connect, you and I would continue to connect, and I would say, okay, lovely, I'm ready to set it up in England. Now, with you coming to the States, I might converse with you to ask you questions, but that doesn't mean you would get someone in England yet that you would have a one-on-one connection to. So you and I would continue to have a conversation, but I may not have women in England sign up for the service yet.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you.
I'll sign up maybe today or tomorrow.
That would be wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Faith, you're next.
I applaud Suzanne for doing such a wonderful job. Just a brilliant job, and I'm very inspired by her.
Thank you.
Thank you, Faith. Yeah, I think, Suzanne, the fact that you created the platform and you explained it really well, it's very well organized. It makes it easier for us to understand what it is. That's why. And every time when you're worried about people trying to not show up or not, like I remember in December or November when you first presented it, and then nobody said anything after that, and you thought it was the holiday season and you were like anxious. You kept posting stuff, which is okay, you posted, but I've said, Suzanne, be patient. This is a new program. You have to let it take time. And as you can see right now, you actually created a structure, and each time you improve it. And I said, let's come back in January when people have more time. And it's nothing against you at all. It's just the way it is. It's just a process. So don't get discouraged. And this thing is contagious. Once you have people signed up, then people say, hey, this is no big deal. It's really, you just signed up. I haven't even get to serve anyone yet, because you also have to find the people who need your help. So what I'm saying is just keep going. This thing is going to grow big, and maybe you can partner with the government and other agencies, like what Lovelyn is talking about. You partner with other agencies to grow this, and you may end up getting a career in this because you're so good at it, for your future. I'm telling you, this could be your career track because you already created this. This is a good resume for you. So anyway, Val, I see your hands up.
Yeah, and then there is this whole Instagram platform on how to get followers.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people are on Instagram, and they, and if your ad or your post draws attention and allow a call to action to lead to your website that explains what a bridge builder is, I mean, people can come left and right.
Absolutely. I am on LinkedIn, and I'm working with a group on LinkedIn to really spread this, because I have someone that I was working with Mark Maynard, RJ Horner, who does Beacon of Leadership. And we're going into LinkedIn because I want people to take it really seriously And that's an excellent platform to have people really seriously do it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that, thank you, Val. A lot of organization, even educational, education system, there are a lot of kids that are autistic. This could spin out into a lot of things, not just for women. Right now, your focus is women. But what I'm saying, you're creating a great resume for yourself, for your future. I know, like Steph, for example, her son is autistic, and that's the area that she's focused on. So you may want to reach out to Steph to be one of your leader or something like that.
Absolutely.
So this, I see a great future for you, Suzanne, moving forward. So whenever there is obstacle and you feel impatient, because I see how your brain works, you want things to happen instantly. Like me, I'm the same way. But really, this is you're doing such a great job with this, and I just applaud you, like Loveland was saying. And I think that, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. It's interesting because at 12 o'clock today, I actually do have a conversation with the government all on the housing, because the government needs to help me to open up housing for Aspie women in the form of in the form of a park model home community. So that's what I'm talking to them about. That's my side project, is to open up more states to get them to understand the value of tiny home communities for we women.
Wonderful. What a great project. Anyway, any other question last minute? We're at the top of the hour right now. I know Val has to work, go back to her work at 8 o'clock. So thank you again, Suzanne. I'll sign up today.
Thank
So
you.
you'll see, you already get it trickled down. I mean, like, if you get several people today and you keep going at it, you're going to be very successful with this. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
with that, I'm going to close this session. Any last minute? Go ahead, Loveland.
Can we have the link, please, in
Yes,
our group?
absolutely.
Yes, she's
Yeah.
going to share the link at the Women's Coffee Club.
Yeah, just
That'd be-
because once this Zoom goes away, they won't be able to get it. But if I put it into the messenger chat, it will be there forever.
Sounds great. Thank you again, guys.
Thank
This
you.
is Thursday, so have a great weekend, all of you, and see you next week. Sounds
Okay.
good.
See ya.
Thanks again. Bye-bye.
Any questions,
Bye.
reach out.
Yes, will do. Thank you.
Thank you.